Hey everybody, Richard Maxwell here, Arcadia High School Creative Musical Arts and Sciences. This is our bi-weekly podcast. We've evolved, and in fact, speaking of evolution, this episode is pretty cool. We had a very special guest, Phillip from Apple Blossom Presents, which is a fantastic artist management and promotion, and they do a lot of great stuff in the local music scene. Their founder and president, Phillip, who it turns out is a pretty big fan of CMAS, and what we do here, came in and spent a day with CMAS students, and as part of that, we had a bunch of just Q&A sessions with him, and we got one of them recorded for you, so you'll get a chance to hear what the students were talking about, and get a chance to get a sense of what he does. And it was a really cool experience to bring some real-world expertise into the classroom. Again, we like to do this quite frequently, but we've not always been great about capturing it, but now, thanks to the students, we can. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We're excited to go to Nashville here in a couple of weeks, and enjoy the episode.
Hey guys, so I'm Alex from Apple Blossom Presents. I have 6 bands I manage. I do a lot of things. I put on shows. I do basically anything that an artist needs. And if I can't do it, I hire somebody to do it. But I've been managing bands for a while. I've been playing music for 23 years, so a long time. I'm old. Started out with bass, went to guitar. You guys know if you can play, a string instrument, to everybody else that doesn't play music, you look really great on every other string instrument. So that was, got playing. I've been in a bunch of bands. I've toured. I've played in other countries. It sounds cooler than it is. And I always was like, there's always like one leader of the band who does most of this stuff. And I was always that person. And then I started managing bands because I love the business. I love playing live. I'm great live. That sounds egotistical, but I love playing live, but I've always geared towards the business aspect of it, and I'm just very lucky that I get to do that as a job now and have a team under me. I manage some really great bands and some really great musicians. So some here, some in Seattle. But yeah, so I kind of just want to open it up to any questions you guys have. And if we don't have any other questions, if we don't have questions, I'll just ramble and you guys will get sick of hearing my voice, which happens pretty quickly. But do you guys want to start with any questions? What's your name? Heidi. Okay, perfect. How long was I in a? So he asked me to repeat the question. So he asked how long was I in a band before I started touring and being in other countries? Well, for a while, because I started when I was 14 playing in a garage, that's what it was like back then. It might still be like that. I don't know. But I started playing shows when I was about 17. Now that started at things like churches and different schools. But not real venues. I don't want to take away from that, but like coffee shops is where I went to next. And then venues like, if you guys have heard of like Rebel Lounge or Valley Bar, and then like Marquee. And then I did like some stuff in London when I did like acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, but it's when I started taking it really seriously. So probably around 21. So as long as you have a 5-song set, you can start playing shows. Yeah. No, I tried to, but no, I did. Yeah. So when I did singer-songwriter stuff, did I do it by myself or with somebody else? I can sing. So I did a little bit by myself, which I like because I didn't have to rely on anybody else but myself, but it's a lot of pressure. But for instance, right now I play music with a buddy who has an amazing voice, and it's singer-songwriter. But what I'll do is I'll play whatever the song needs. I used to just play guitar, or bass. But now luckily I can play piano, drums, so it's really what the song calls for. Now, if it's at like a coffee shop, I'll just play backup guitar, or guitar while he sings. He doesn't like to sing without a guitar, but it's really whatever the song calls for. Now, there's some songs where, and I kind of have to fight with him about this, but that doesn't need a second part. that I don't need to play on, and that's okay because I play whatever is going to make the song sound the fullest and what it needs. But that obviously depends on your level. What I would recommend is if you're in a two-piece, just play backup guitar. That way you'll get used to playing with people. What was your name again? I'm so sorry. Heidi. Perfect.
So, like, what's the process so, like, a band goes through to, like, get picked up by, like, the manager?
So what the process the band goes through to get a manager is they don't cough. That's me coughing. I just got over being sick. I'm not coughing on your mics and stands or anything. But what bands go through to get a manager, now there's a couple ways. Is somebody can just approach you at a show, or reach out to you via Instagram and stuff. Or you can start looking at just online of if there's other bands that that have representation, or even just looking for local record labels, because they'll have managers that they can be like, this is who you should go to, like that. So it's kind of just looking online to see. It's a lot of like who follows bands you like. So you can go to a local band and see, do they have a management team? There's a band I like, and I was like, oh, they have a manager. I'll contact them when I started managing, and she helped me out a lot. So just find bands that are local and see who their management team is. What I do is, when I started, is I would approach bands, but luckily now bands are coming to me. But yeah, if you're doing it right, either they'll come to you or you put the time in. Like, with everything else of music, is you grind until you find someone. Never go with the first person you meet unless they're the perfect fit. I only manage bands that I would want to hang out with. It's a business, but at the end of the day, I want to be able to grab a coffee with this person. Always go with your gut. If it feels right, have a second opinion from somebody you care about, somebody in the music business. But yeah, so great question.
What do you manage? Because when you say you're a manager, like what does that entail?
What's your name?
I'm Larita.
Larita. Pretty name. So what I do as a manager is I sit down first with the band and I'm like, tell me what you need, and I'm gonna try to take off. What my thing I always say is, I want to take off everything off your plate that I can, so you can focus on the music the most. Now it's different from band to band. I can be help run social media, book shows, get in contact with record labels, help get merch. Help get shows, help them introduce to other bands, get flyers going, set up the relationship with the venues, find producers, record them. I produce a lot of the songs, like not technology-wise, but I'll go in and I'll help shape a song. So basically whatever they need that I can take off their plate, and this is a big thing in the music industry, is know what you don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. That's why I have a team of people who do know that. A band could be a lot of things, and I'll just tell them, like, one of my rules is I don't do TikTok because I'm 37 and I don't know TikTok. It's as simple as that. I've maybe seen one TikTok in my entire life. And I know Instagram, so, luckily that's good, and Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. But, yeah, so basically it can be something that, there's one band that I just book shows for because they are so good at everything else. There's a band where I do almost everything for. But as long as the bands are putting in the hard work, I will put in the hard work for them. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Perfect. So no, I don't only manage bands and groups. I manage some singer-songwriter artists. I manage somebody who's R&B and hip hop. So I manage musicians. So, what's your name? Ramon. Nice to meet you. A big important thing that in the music industry is safety. especially for a female and non-binary artist. Obviously for males too, but that's the big thing, is that you guys will want to watch out for, as you grow in the music industry as musicians, because there's a lot of people that will take advantage. Unfortunately, it's disgusting, but they will. I've seen it happen plenty of times. Maxwell asked me here because I'm not one of those people. Obviously, I mean, not obviously, but I'm not. So you guys always be wary of people you meet. In the music industry, if they come to you and they're like, we want to work with you so bad, and it's like they're very overeager, be cautious. Something I like to always tell musicians, if there's somebody who wants to work with you, invite them to the next show. If they come, then they're interested, and then make time for them outside of the show for grab coffee and go with see what your gut is telling you. As musicians, we're very in touch with our artistic side, and what comes with that is, we go with our feelings a lot, and that's really important. But if you have somebody such as Maxwell, that does music, that you trust, ask them to come. When I meet with a band, I never meet with just them. I always have them bring somebody that they trust, because I want to make sure that person also, sees something good in what I'm presenting them. Now things are different now than they were 10, 20 years ago, with signing away publishing rights and things like that. You always want to be wary. I never take publishing rights, because I want the artist's music to be their music. So just keep in mind that I would say 80 to 85% of the time, these people want to take advantage of you. So just be very wary and make sure you ask somebody you trust. Now, I was approached for a record contract when I was 25, and I went to my dad. My dad has no musical experience, no business experience, but he knows me, so he knows how I'm talking about it, what I'm feeling, and he'll be able to give me, he'll be able to tell me what I'm showing. And he was pointing out, he's like, well, you seem kind of wary of trusting him when it comes to the percentage he's taking. I didn't even realize that. And I was like, oh yeah, that is something. And if they won't negotiate, don't work with them. If someone's coming to you, you have something. Even if somebody doesn't come to you, if you're playing music, you have something, and always remember that. But yes, safety, security, and trust, and authenticity. You want, again, this person you're going to be working with, you're going to be working with a lot. You're going to butt heads with them every now and then, but you want to be able to be like, at the end of the day, I trust this person, and I would grab a coffee with them, Yes. So are you asking to form a band? So it's really crazy. The last 4 bands I've been in were all found on Craigslist. So it's the one part of Craigslist that nobody's gonna kill you on. But is that okay to say? Sorry. So it's really funny. You just go to something as crazy as just musicians looking for other musicians, and then you'll meet with them. You usually either audition if they're already a band. You'll just meet up and try to start writing and see if it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, there was a band I found on Craigslist, and then 3 months later we're playing, the marquee and stuff like that. Some of the bands I've been in, it's just been friends, because after playing music for so long, you realize most of your friends are musicians. I don't like to be in bands. Oh man, I guess except the one I'm in now, but that's more of a side project. I don't like to be in bands with friends, because when the business aspect comes, it's hard to find that line and not overstep it and have it affect your friendship, because as musicians, we're emotional, and that when you butt heads, that can ruin either the business or the friendship sometimes, or the band can break up. I've had that before. But yeah, so Craigslist. Yeah, go ahead. So there isn't an age range that I'm oh, I can't manage this person. I mean, I don't want to manage a 7-year-old, but I I manage somebody that's 16, and I help co-manage with her parents. I manage somebody that's 21, some in their 30s, and somebody that's as old as 45. Hopefully you can edit those coughs out. But it really depends on how authentic they are, how hard they were willing to work, and if I like their music. I want to be a fan of their music. But yeah, there is an artist I work with that is 16, and they're very good. Good. Famous. There is a somewhat famous band that I've worked with. Their name is Bear Ghost. They're local. They're pretty big. I didn't manage them, but the first band I managed went on tour with them, and their manager I work a lot with starting out because he helped me a lot get to where I am now. So I have worked with Bear Ghost. So that's probably the biggest one that I can think of. Yeah. The genres I prefer to work with is like indie music and acoustic singer-songwriter because that's what I play, that's what I know, that's what I like. But I manage singer-songwriter, I manage a hip-hop artist, I manage a pop artist, an electric artist, so an indie artist. So there is a wide variety. And when I first started managing other bands like the hip-hop artists, I was kind of wary because I don't know that scene a lot, but it taught me a lot. So, and I learned a lot from it. So, and now, in 2 months, they're opening up for a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but it's a pretty huge hip-hop group from the 80s and 90s. Any other questions? Good. Yeah, so what I do from a producing standpoint is I help with song arrangements, I help with shaping them, lyrics, writing sometimes, but a lot of it is like arrangement. So they'll present it to me and I'm like, okay, try this, try this, try this. And it helps because when we write our own music, we're very close to it. I'll write something and somebody's like, you should change this. I'm like, okay, well, you're out of my life now. I'm just kidding. But you know how it is. We're very close to what we write. So from my standpoint, these people are trusting me. They are asking me to put my opinion in there, and I'll put much work in there as they put it. I'll listen to it so much, and then I'll come with some ideas. Like I'll go and edit it on like Logic, or actually still use GarageBand because it came out when I was your guys' age, and it's one of those things that like I've just used it forever. But I'll do just a quick edit of things, and I'll send it to them, or even in the studio live, I'll be like, let's try this. Let me put this bass line down. But yeah. So a lot of song shaping and arrangements.
Can you talk a bit about, this came up in the other session, that you were talking about like the sort of the social media thing and the balance of like, not so much navigating social media, but like how to try to capitalize on using it
Yeah.
effectively.
So yeah, as you see, he said social media and I rubbed my face. It is like the bane of musicians' existence because we need it, but it also, we're fighting with the algorithm constantly. A big thing I like to say is find your niche of what makes you special as a musician. And you may not have found it yet. That's fine. But that's what you want to kind of capitalize on. Is that because that'll help you stand out. Now it's hard because you have to be like, well, do I want to put a lot of work in this post? It can get 5 views, and then you put a funny post, takes 30 seconds, and you get like 300 views, or thousands of views. So it's constantly fighting the algorithm. But what I have found, like I said, what makes you special, and you go off of that, even if it's something little. Like a band I work with, she does like go shopping with me and pick my outfit for the show that day, and people love that, and that goes huge. One of my bands does music videos, and it's just like following a day in their life of their corgi, who has like a neckerchief of their band logo, something like that, because it's cute, so there's stuff like that. So, and if you don't think or can't find something special, that just means you haven't found it yet. You have it. Everybody has it who plays music. You just have to work to find it, see what works, see what doesn't work. And it's a grind. It is such a grind. I hate social media, but we need it. When I was your guys' age, it was like, what was it? MySpace and Pure Volume, which was a lot easier. But the great thing now is you can get more traction out there than you could when I was your guys' age. Now, what I like to do is I tell people, to post like something I like is when you take like a pop song and make it acoustic and then post that cover. Then people will see that, go to your original music and fall in love with that. So you have to find something that'll get their attention in like 5 seconds to 7 seconds. And then they'll go to your page and see the rest. Now, I'm trying to think. So that is the balance. I always say to my artists, post 2 to 3 times a week. Usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays is what I like. But you might not find something that works great because of the algorithm. But the biggest thing is be authentic to who you are. Somebody's gonna see it. I mean, somebody's gonna love it, even if it's your mom. Somebody saw it. Somebody loved it. So. Is that about what I covered last time? I'm trying to think what else. Yeah. I ramble a lot, so I'm like, oh, what did I say last time? But something we talked about. Does anybody have any questions? Well, in the middle of my ramble. Go ahead. So musicians that only do it for the money, I wouldn't call musicians. I would say if you're in it for the money, you would probably spend less time getting your doctorate, and get money that way, as much time as you put into music and stuff like that. But people who are in it for the money are going to find out pretty quickly how phony you are, because, as I said earlier, the most important thing is being authentic to yourself. There are bands out there. There are bands that I know personally that are out there and they only want it for the money, and it worked for them for a little bit, so it's like, and the big thing is, what is your definition of success? If your definition of success is to make a lot of money and all this stuff, okay, that's, if your definition is playing a show a month at Rebel Bar, or Rebel Lounge or Valley Bar, like, that's great too. But I think people who are in it just for the money have you guys ever heard the term snake oil salesman? No. So it's like somebody who's trying to sell you a fake product to take advantage of you. And I think that's what it is. That's my view. So not to be like harsh on those people, but everybody in here puts their blood, sweat, and tears into their music. I do it. You guys do it. Maxwell does it. So, that's what people will see, is all the hard work when they listen to your music. Any questions? So a big thing that was asked last time was about merch. How much merch should you have before you play a show? The answer was, it depends how much money you have. 99% of the time, you have no money. So what I do is, a big thing I do is, I have business cards. These are my old ones. It says Apple Blossom Management. I rebranded recently to Apple Blossom Presents, but it has my info on there, and on the back it has a QR code to my link tree. That's all you need, because if they're a fan of you, if they want a shirt, they will use this. So if you guys want, I can pass out a couple for you to look at. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, cool. Actually, does somebody want to pass them out for me? I have more, so at the end of the time, I just don't want to get up. If you guys scan that QR code, it won't go to anywhere because that's my old ones, but my email on there is working and my number on there is working. If you guys have questions, don't spam me. Don't be a jerk about it. I'm trusting you. Maxwell's trusting you. Um, but if you guys do want to find things, it's Apple Blossom Presents. That's all you have to type in. Like I said, those are my old ones, but the email still works. I made them square to kind of stand out, and if you feel them, they're like a little higher quality. Now it did cost me like $40, for 100 of them or something. But if somebody wants a shirt, they will take that card and they will find you. What I did my first few shows is like when I didn't have merch, I'm always like, oh, the merch order is late, but if you take this card and message me, you'll get 10% off. When they do come because they're being late. And they're like, oh, great, because then one, you have a new fan, you have a new follow, and you have somebody that is waiting for merch. So somebody that is gonna be there for quote unquote the long haul, waiting for something. So that's it's just like a business, tactic. Like, oh, they're running late, which means I haven't ordered them yet. I need to get money from this show to buy them. So, and I'm all, so I'm like, oh, here's a discount. As soon as they come in, it's yours. But yeah, so all my artists, I like to push things that are different, not just t-shirts. They do have t-shirts, but like, some have like, handkerchiefs for their dogs. Some have cassette tapes, which I love. Some have like earrings. Some have keychains. They even have little lyric booklets, lighters, lighter cases, things like that. So something very cutesy that people want. Fanny packs, things like that. So, yeah. Have I ever hit rock bottom, and how did I get out of that? Yes. Yes, very much so. It was about 6-7 years ago. I was in a band here that was pretty popular. And a lot of things happened, and it was definitely rock bottom. How I got out of that was I stepped away from music for a bit, and I surrounded myself by people that were supportive, such as my wife and my cats, but also like friends and things like that. But it was hard. I almost gave up on music. I almost gave up on myself as a musician. I had to claw my way out of it, but if it wasn't for the people that I surrounded myself with, I definitely wouldn't be doing this. I would still be doing an 8 to 5 job and things like that. So, you might get to that point. I hope none of you do, but it might happen. What happened for me was a lot of, watch your ego and watch the people who are in your band and the safety of all of that. Cause you can wake up one day and be like, this is not who I am. So, you surround yourself by people who do know who you are and can remind you of that and can be like, you need to stop being an idiot. So, good question though. Anything else?
Talk a bit about, and this is a little bit about hypothetical. You go see band XYZ purposefully. You're a fan. You go to their show. There's however many opening acts before them, and you've never heard of them. And a couple of them, you're like, wow, that was really, actually really like what that other band did. Could you maybe share a little bit about like what would be, like what are the things that you're looking for? And I know everybody's different, and artists and everything else is different, but like what would be things that you'd be like, if I see this, that, or whatever, are there elements that you seem to find you gravitate towards more, like from the management side, that like indicates that this is more than just, because sometimes we've all been to shows where we see somebody and they play great, but it's very obvious they're just there because they're kind of having fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not judging that. I'm just meaning like, how do you know if somebody's really, truly beyond just the sort of hobbyist, I guess is what I'm saying.
So, from a management standpoint, when I'm looking for, like, if I go to a show and I see an opening band that interests me or that I think would be beneficial for management, and they're playing not just from like a hobby standpoint, is how authentic are they? You can usually tell. Also, how much work they need. That's a huge thing. If they need work, I love putting in the work for them. But if after the show they're at the merch table, that's a huge plus in my book. Because they want to interact with their fans. They care. How much do they care about the music? If they're like, okay, this song's called this, and they just start playing it. How is their crowd interaction from stage? How's their stage presence? You can fake a lot of things, but you can't fake the look in their eyes when they're playing, and that's what I look for. Is is that, I mean, I see drummers all I know people who I look at drummers who have played the same thing every night, but like I can tell if they're having fun. The bass player, if they're doing the same runs, like you can really look in their eyes. And there's a difference between them being tired because it's their 100th show on tour, or if they don't give a crap and they're just playing to get paid. So a lot of it is their fan interaction. How authentic are they? Are they interacting with their fans after the show? You could have no merch, but if you're interacting with your fans, that's huge. And the look in their eyes when they play their first and last note. Any other questions? I've got a lot of time. I've got a lot of answers. Yeah. So how I get bands on shows is when I started is I would just email blast people. Also, just being in the music industry for as long as I have, I know people who run shows. When I started, that's something I didn't want to do. That's something I do majority of now, and I love it. I love putting on shows. In the business aspect, if you're managing or running anything, the most stressful thing will be putting on a show. You have to make sure the bands are there. A lot of musicians are not always they're never on time. And it's a lot of babysitting, it's a lot of emails, but basically just find venues you want to play at and email them. I mean, it can be something easy as like info@marquee.com, and if they don't get back to you within 2 weeks, email again, It's as simple as that. A lot of things that I do are just all through email. That's a lot of my job, and sometimes it's something as simple as that. So just doing a little bit of research. I would, if I played a show, I would go, even now, if my bands play a show, at the end of the show, I go around and I thank all the security guard, all the lighting people, all the bartenders, because they'll remember your name and then they'll start reaching out to you for shows. But yeah, great question. So how you start off by getting a fan base is add all of the people who follow your friends and you personally, because they'll know you and they'll share your music, because you just need to get your music in front of one person that hasn't heard it, and if they want to share it, then you're golden. You have to know what your voice, what you want, product you want to put out, what's important to you, and then you want to. I always say, have 2 songs on Spotify and Apple Music, and then put a cover out there as a video or something. That's kind of the way to do it. But it's hard because when you get started, it's going to be kind of just grinding, sharing the same thing over and over. But I don't know if you guys know, there's something called DistroKid, where you submit your music and it'll put it on everything, Apple Music, all that stuff. That's a great way to do it. And then submit your songs to playlists on Spotify, and then just share it. You're going to annoy people, but just share it on all your socials. And then it's, like I said, it's kind of annoying, but if you add all of the people on your personal and then all the people on your friends list, then somebody will come see and be like, oh, they have 300 followers. They're legit, rather than 2 followers. Also, before you release stuff, have like 4 posts on your Instagram at least of just like a behind the scenes, shot of you writing or band practice, a little reel of some of your music. And then once you have just even if it's a small foundation, then you can start marketing it. And, you don't need money to market it. You can just keep putting it on Instagram and TikTok and things like that. Does that answer your question?
About 7 or 8 minutes. Anything anybody want to know anymore? Really appreciate you coming in, man.
Was somebody, hold on.
Oh, did you have one?
Oh, sorry.
Over there, sorry.
So the strong arming cassettes and CD tapes to like publishers, does that still work?
Sending CDs and tapes, that's a really great question. To publishers does not work. Something which it's kind of a big no-no, and I don't know why. This is just a rule that I was told when I first started, and it seems to be right. It's kind of the digital version of that. If you send an email to a manager or trying to get your music out there, never put a link. Not a link. Never put an attachment. Always put a link. When I send emails out to people, I put a link to their EPK. Does people know what an EPK is? It's an electronic press kit. So it's a one sheet where it has their picture, their bio, and links to all their stuff. And it's pretty, it's supposed to be like aesthetically pleasing. So I do that for my artists too. But I always put a link in there. I say, hey, this is my name. This is my band. I'm looking for representation. EPK link, and then your bio. But no, the tapes and the CDs should all only be like merch. But because the people who are like in charge now were the ones who I would say were doing that at that time. I mean, even when I was your guys' age, that was kind of going out as the digital platforms were coming up. So, but no, but that would be really cool if like people started doing that again. But great question. Few minutes left. Was this the same length?
It's a little bit different because the other one has the news.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead. Before. Oh, so like booking agents and people for shows. When it comes to how much shows you've played, no, because they'll, if you can get on a bill with other bands, if you have 3 bands, even if this person hasn't heard about it, if you can get 25 people there, you're breaking even. So they'll usually put you on like a Wednesday spot, and then once you do well, they'll put you on a weekend spot. So the biggest hurdle when you're starting out and getting a show is having that person read the email. But no, I mean, you can go to what I started to do when I started out, and a lot of people still do, is go to a coffee shop. They're not going to say no. They want people there buying their coffee. There's coffee shops out there I could tell you guys about that will let you guys play for free. Yeah. And then once you play coffee shops, you can be like, oh, I have, in your little bio, I've played here before. Or what I like to say is, oh, when I was playing this coffee shop, this person gave me your info, which didn't happen. But like, they're like, oh, there was a venue you were at, even if it's something small. So I always say start off at like coffee shops, because they're not going to be like, oh, well, did you play the Nile? They're going to be like, yes, play it. We want people to buy our chai. So yeah, great question.
When looking for management, is it better to make a demo tape, like it's all your songs, or make a more refined, like EP type of thing to send it them?
No, just have something on Spotify that they can listen to that you're proud of. Proud of in the terms of that it's out there. I mean, my first recording was a Sabbath song on a cassette tape that we did through a boombox, with the old microphones. Like, and I was proud of it because it was something I did and it was out there. But no, if a band approaches me or I look for a band, they could have 3 songs. They could have 3 follows. They could have 4 plays on Spotify. But if I can hear it and hear that spark, hear that authenticity, and hear that potential for growth, I will work with them if other things line up. But no, you don't have to have anything polished. You work towards that. Now, there's bands I'll manage where I'm like, oh, they don't have enough experience so I can't work with them. But there's some bands that just started out, and then I worked with them and built them up. So no, you don't need something polished. Nobody needs anything polished. You need something authentic. That's what it is. You can plug into your Scarlett and put in Logic, and if you can produce and you can put something out that you're happy with or proud of, that's what's important.
Alex, thank you seriously for coming in like this.
Yeah, thank you guys for sitting and listening to me ramble.